It's the 17th day of April, 2016, and this is the Radical Agnostic, broadcasting from the Sonoran Desert in Tucson, Arizona. My name is John. With me today, Mark Beef.
Hello.
OG, my friend. This is how it all started, right?
Yep.
You and me looking at each other.
Remember the first one that never got aired?
Yeah. I recorded it wrong, and then we did it again. Episode 59. We have another patron.
Oh, wow.
On Patreon.
Nice.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Whoever it is out there, thank you. And you should hit us up and ask us a question or give us some commentary, and we'll talk about it on the show. Or you could come be on the show. Who knows? Who are you, though? As long as you're not, you know.
Who cares who they are? Well, I mean, it'd be nice to know, but would you turn somebody's money down? Would you be like, oh, you can't be a patron?
I was just thinking serial killer, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were just talking about horror movies, folks. So, oh, yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. The campaign in the ass 2016. We're going to talk about the...
Did you change who you're voting for with this last debate? Are you going full Hillary now?
I know you guys... I know there's been a lot of suspense as to who I'm supporting. No one quite knows, but yeah, I'm flipping. But I'm going with Cruz, actually. Lion Ted.
Yep.
And now Trump is calling Hillary Crooked Hillary.
Crooked Hillary.
Yeah. We might talk about dropping violent crime in the U.S. We might talk about dreams, Deja Vu, international...
House of Pancakes.
Tensions between the U.S. and Russia. We'll probably get to little or none of this. Deja Vu, like I said, all over again. And first of all, campaign in the ass, 2016. Look, so the New York primary is on Tuesday. It's kind of the make or break. It's important. A lot of delegates at stake. Biggest state yet. If you look at the betting markets, the political betting, Hillary has a 91% chance of winning. The polls.
But why is that? Because Sanders was actually born there.
Yeah, but the polls.
And Clinton wasn't born anywhere near there.
No, it's her adoptive home, Mark.
Yeah,
she became a senator there after doing metric research on which prominent states would have her.
Right.
And she said, okay, New York. So they bought a mansion there, lived there for like the required 9 months, and became a senator, was reelected, and then she still lives there.
And so for
they
me...
have a home there.
Right. So for me, that just proves that the whole idea of New Yorkers being sophisticates is garbage. Because if they were sophisticates, they'd understand that. They'd know that Sanders was actually born there. It's actually way more of a New Yorker than fucking Clinton is. And they would vote there, you know.
Well,
be a little more, not so much, gosh, there's a celebrity in our town.
They don't really know who Sanders is. He's been up in Vermont for 40 years.
So they don't read the papers? They don't pay attention to stuff? They're like I said, they're not sophisticates then. They're fucking bumpkins.
But
they're as much of bumpkins as fucking anyone in the middle of goddamn Arkansas.
She's been in their lives for 15 years. I mean, in the news.
15. Yeah, the last 15 years.
And a lot of New Yorkers are transplants anyway, so maybe they don't mind that she's from somewhere else.
All I'm saying is, to me, makes perfectly good sense now that New York, you can no longer pretend that you're sophisticates and the rest of the country is flyover country.
Yeah. True. And you know what they are? You know what they are when they say they're sophisticates? What they mean is we're party line establishment people. We just go straight ahead, no questions asked. I mean, anyway, in this primary, it's not good because she started with a 60-point lead over him. Recent polls have her at like 14%. Now, I'm pretty sure she won't win by that much, because he's been upsetting the poll predictions for a long time now. Mm-hmm. But only registered Democrats can vote. The deadline for switching to Democrat was like October.
Right.
So all these new Bernie people that are independents, or they're not registered Democrats, which is millions. They can't. They have no voice in this election. So he's been trying to reach out to only these registered Democrats for the last few weeks, and it's just an uphill climb, man. Those people go for Hillary every time. So. Right. If he wins, it'll be shocking. And if he wins by even like 0.1%, I say he's going to win the whole nomination, because it'll be such an upset. It'll be all over the news finally. But chances are he's going to lose by like 8-9%. And that'll kind of be mathematically the end. He'll keep going. Maybe he'll dominate California and stuff, but she'll probably already have that majority of delegates by that point. So it's really tough. Tuesday is kind of the big day, and obviously my hopes aren't too high, but we'll see. Clinton flew to California, I guess, a couple yesterday to attend this George Clooney fundraiser. Did you hear about it?
Yeah, and people were throwing dollar bills at her or something.
Yeah, protesters were dumping dollar bills on her car or something.
See, I would have gone to that protest.
Yeah,
scooped them up.
Just scooping them up. Sorry, I'm here for cleanup, folks. Don't worry about me.
Recycling.
Yeah, and it was $35,000 a plate at this dinner. And if you
and it was at George Clooney's house or something.
I don't know whose house it was at. I'm not sure about that. Probably not at at one of his houses. Probably at some fancy like hotel or something. I don't know where, but it was 32,000 whatever, 32 grand to go to the dinner. And then if you wanted 2 seats, it was $325,000, which doesn't seem normally how they bundle things like that, but like by multiplying it times 10 instead of giving you a deal. But
yeah, no, I got it.
Well, it was 2 seats at the table with Hillary Clinton at the dinner table.
Okay.
I think is what.
So you're sitting at the same table.
Yeah, I guess the 30 grand people were across the room at the kids' table or whatever. Yeah. But if you wanted to be near her physically and have pictures taken with you, you paid that much money. Which I don't understand, because it's a fundraiser for her campaign. That's what they're calling it. That's what it is. But the personal limit for donations is $2,700. No one can give a campaign more than that amount of money in this country, unless you do it through donating to one of their super PACs. That was the whole Citizens United. It created these entities that are distinct from the campaign, but you can give any amount of money, unlimited to that. So it must be working through a super PAC, because I don't get how these dinners, how people are allowed to pay 32 grand and it goes straight to the candidates' pockets. I don't get it.
Well, that law is only enforced if it goes to their campaign, right?
Right.
So maybe all the money they collected went privately straight to her bank account.
I guess maybe,
right? Because that's not against the law.
But but if it isn't, I don't get how these things, these loopholes are so wide to this campaign donations law.
Well, yeah, surprise, surprise. Laws are made by lawyers,
and
they always make loopholes,
and they
can get around it.
It's a really hard thing to Google search too. Like I didn't know what to type in. I was like, how can people donate large amounts at fundraisers that are above the maximum limit? Like it's a very hard thing to search for. I could search for campaign finance law and then scour the literature, but I didn't feel like it. So anyway, and Clooney himself, when interviewed about it, said the protesters have every right to be angry about this. He said these amounts of money are obscene. That was a quote from him.
Well, so he didn't have any involvement?
No, he's completely involved. He started it, invited everyone. Him being there is one of the big draws, for the people going. So he was just like kind of agreeing with the Bernie people and saying, yeah, but, we're doing it anyway. So, and I guarantee you, George Clooney is going to run for president someday. He's going to run for political office and probably president. I'm making this prediction. I know it sounds like it's completely out of the blue, but I've heard hintings at it in the media for quite a few years now. And, of course, he's married to that woman, Abedin.
I have no idea who he's married. I don't know much about the dude.
He's married to a woman who worked for Hillary Clinton in the State Department as a top aide to her. This woman is like this super smart lawyer or business person or something, and she worked in the Clinton.
Okay.
So that's their connection.
Gotcha.
I guarantee you he's going to run for president. I can just tell. And does anyone look more like a stereotypical president than him?
Well, yeah, I mean, he looks like, a young Ronald Reagan or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I seriously don't really know much about him. I know he was on that Doctor TV show, and he was Batman, and I don't fucking know anything
That's basically...
else. Now he's in some coffee commercial that I keep seeing. So, I don't...
Violent crime. It's been going down for 40 years.
Yeah.
2010 was the lowest in 40 years violent crime has ever been. In the 80s, everyone was losing their shit. Violent crime was up. It was record highs. There were thousands of murders in New York City in 1 year in the 80s. And then in 1990, they didn't notice it for a couple of years, but it started to go down. And then it plummeted. And it was, in some places, it's half what it was in the 80s. So violent crime has been going down, down, down for the last 4 decades. Although you might not know it from paying attention to the media or something. That's not a good headline. Like, things getting safer. Like, world better now. They don't want to, they want to say all the crappy things. But I read an article about it of people, someone who researched it pretty closely in the Atlantic. And they were trying to figure out why it happened. So there's 4 theories, basically. One, mass incarceration. We imprison more people numerically and per capita than any country in the world by far.
Right.
So some people are like, well, look, it kind of makes a lot of sense. We took the criminals off the streets. We did stop and frisk in New York City. We just started rounding everyone up and giving them 20 years for a drug possession charge, nonviolent crime. But the research on that doesn't bear out, and it really doesn't show that most of the...
Well, that also works on the other end so, they're imprisoning a bunch of people who committed violent crimes, but also predominantly people who were arrested for drugs, and crack cocaine being a major one, and that being a drug that probably would produce violent acts more readily than like smoking marijuana or
for sure
doing anything like that. So, I mean, people are being locked up for those things. People coming up that haven't kids see like, oh, well, if you want to get thrown in jail, then go get involved in the drug game and, do all that kind of stuff. And so I'm sure people are choosing not to go down that path as well.
You think that's part of it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would think, not just the mass incarceration, but I mean, kind of as a example, so I'm sure, well, I'm not saying that that's going to cause it completely to go down or anything, but I'm sure that's something that adds to,
it could be, yeah,
contributes.
But, another thing is, did crime really go up during the 70s and 80s? In other words, the war on drugs started in the early 70s. So that made a whole new class of crimes. So
right.
Crime statistics are going to go way up all of a sudden when you start labeling behaviors criminal, like people sitting in their house taking an illegal drug for their own benefit or pleasure. That became a crime. And on a number of levels for a number of substances. So all of a sudden crime, quote unquote, skyrocketed. Maybe, that has something to do with it. But the mass incarceration, the researchers who tried to determine the correlations here came up with the conclusion that the mass incarceration has contributed 0 to 10% of the crime drop. So a small portion, possibly none at all, because there's research showing that long prison sentences increase criminality compared to short ones. If you give someone a year, they kind of maybe are more likely to learn their lesson, as it were, than a guy who you give 15 years, 20 years for a drug thing, and then he gets out and he's institutionalized by the prison. And he knows his connections are all criminal because that's where he's been for 20 years. So some studies say that the more you put people in jail, the more crime you'll get.
Right, but you're not really comparing two similar things with that, because if the people you're keeping in jail for a shorter time are the ones who are committing violent acts, I would say that is completely wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about jailing people who haven't committed a violent act, yeah, sure. I could believe that
Yeah.
if they're going to jail for something for not committing nonviolence,
Yeah.
and then you keep them in there longer, yeah, they're going to develop more habits of a criminal, learn how to do stuff, connections,
Yeah.
have a harder time when they get out, blah, blah, blah. But if they committed a violent crime to get into jail, I would think that you want to keep them there longer than shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, I don't know, and it depends. If it was someone who like got in a road rage incident and accidentally killed someone, that guy probably doesn't need to be in jail for 20, 30 years.
It depends on what the road rage incident was.
Right.
Did they
With
crash
no
into
prior
the person?
history,
Did they crash into the person with their car or swerve or something and make the person crash? Then yeah, sure, I agree with you. Did they pull them over and get out of the car with a gun and shoot them? No, I'm sorry. That's
they
need
true.
to be in jail.
That's true. Now that I think of it, that's a little bad. So it's probably not mass incarceration, at least contributing to the whole thing. Next theory, alcohol. Alcohol use has gone down over that same period. Not in a one-to-one relationship, but alcohol use has been going down in recent decades in the U.S. So a lot of people think that has something to do with it. But again, the same researchers looked at the statistics on that, and they said that contributes maybe 0 to 7%. So probably not alcohol either, though it might be a part of it. Third theory, abortion. Abortion became legal in what, the early 70s, Roe versus Wade?
Yeah.
People say, look, mothers and parents who are unable to have kids and are likely to raise them in poverty and therefore they'll be more exposed to crime. They're not having those kids because it's illegal not to now, or legal not to now. So people are saying, well, Roe versus Wade was in the early 70s. The crime drop started in the 90s. In the early 90s, so that doesn't make sense. And they say, no, it does make sense because the kids that were not born in 1970 would have been 20 in 1990, and they would have been the criminals. I mean, 20-year-old males are basically...
I think it was 73, so...
Yeah, I think you're right. So, but anyway, they would have been 17. So that does kind of make sense.
Right.
I don't think there was any statistical analysis on that. It's a very controversial theory, obviously.
And then it would continue to drop from 1990 to today because abortion has become more accepted as well.
It would be ramping up, I guess.
Well, but I mean, in 1973 when it was first made legal, there was still a pretty big taboo about it.
Horrible, yeah.
Which, I mean, and there's still a taboo about it now,
Yep.
but not as bad as then.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know if that makes sense, though, because I thought I had read elsewhere that abortion rates are dropping recently. I believe they are, in the last, but that's only the last 5 or 10 years, I think.
Right.
But anyway, so that's the third theory. Fourth theory, this is a little weird, lead. So lead used to be in gasoline until some congressional act in the early 70s. I'm not sure when that was, but the researchers...
it was definitely sometime in the 70s or maybe even 80s because there was leaded gas and unleaded gas all through the 70s that I remember.
Yeah, I think it was later than that. And a bunch of researchers have correlated the banning of lead in gasoline to the drop in crime because we do know as a fact that lead is a neurotoxin and that when it's inhaled, it is bad. It leads to cognitive decline and aggression and things like that. So these people wrote a lot of papers and did a lot of scientific studies on the connection between lead and the drop in crime. So, and it's interesting because the drop has also occurred in many other industrialized countries over the same period. So it's not just us. And it also is correlated in those countries with the lead thing because I guess they found out about the lead. Everyone found out at the same time in the 70s or 80s that it was bad. So they got rid of it. So that's a cool kind of a weird little theory that has more support than you would think.
Oh.
So it might be that. And then my theory of the whole thing was it's the internet. But the drop started in 1990, so that doesn't really make sense because the internet didn't really catch on until, in 1995, probably 5 or 10% of the population was using the internet. By 2000, it was probably like 50%, but So that doesn't really totally make sense, my theory, but I just think it has something to do with it.
Before the internet, people were still just playing video games and watching movies at home too more than they had been.
That's true, yeah.
So it's all kinds of kind of crap.
Because that is what my theory is about. It's that they're
not leaving their home.
Yeah.
Although you would think violent crime can still happen in homes, so you could still
but
get mad at somebody.
The other aspect of my theory is that the internet, it does, I think it's the reason that Bernie Sanders, for example, has been so successful. He dominates the internet. All social media, it looks like 90% of the world is a Bernie Sanders supporter if you are frequently on the internet. But the truth is that there's a lot of people out there who aren't there on social media, who are voting for other people. But my point is, the internet allows the diffusion of information freely. There's still establishment sources on the internet, but really, information is getting out. People are learning more and faster than they ever have before. And so I think that's just a good thing in general for humanity, to gain knowledge and wisdom, and it might lead to less violence and crime overall, just as a moral sort of progression.
Well, and also you can get those violent urges out on the internet. You can
right.
Watch violent videos, or
that's right,
or play games, or you can just go somewhere and comment and throw tons of insults or call someone names, or get that out that way.
We know for a fact that people are getting their asshole out on the internet on a daily basis. Yeah. You and I might be guilty of that once in a while ourselves.
Well, I'm guilty of being an asshole. I'm not guilty of being angry. But
I'm rarely angry online anymore. That's true.
I don't get pissed off. And that's I think really the internet should be called the incensed factory, because that's what it does. It's you could post I posted this video of this, I don't know, it's some weird super deep underwater fish. It has no eyes. Yeah. It looks like an eel with
the teeth,
weird teeth.
Oh, it's all mouth.
And it's just and it's bizarre, and it's out of water. This person has it on a table somewhere, and they're poking it with this thing, and everyone that commented on my thing was like, "Oh, poor creature, they're poking it." Brian, I hate it when someone does that. I just want to take that person and kill him. It's what? Dude, that's not the point.
The one thing about that, Brian,
look at this fucking thing. Is that this weird creature? And it gets poked 2 times, and then grabs onto the thing with its mouth, bites on it. If it was your finger, your finger would be bitten in half.
Well, yeah, but it is a living being, and they are killing it by having it out of water. Did they throw it back?
I don't. They might have.
I doubt it. It's
a 10-second video.
Yeah, I saw.
But I'm saying, so you're jumping to conclusions whether and no one was commenting about it being out of water, just about it getting poked. They couldn't give a fuck about it being out of water.
Yeah, poking a fish doesn't. I don't think they really feel that very much. They're not even. They're barely animals.
But that's what I'm saying. Is you have, everyone has these ideas and these experiences and their perspective, their view, and then whatever they view, they put their perspective on that. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And then they get mad. They're like, oh, or if someone challenges that, then they get mad, or it's just.
So you don't.
It's just produces anger. The internet, in my estimation, just is produces more anger. If we could channel all the anger that the internet produces and create energy with that would be awesome. We would be able to power 3 suns.
Yeah. Oh well, that's what jujitsu's for. Is to get that stuff out. But I always do find it entertaining when Brian responds to animal cruelty with threats of violence to humans or actual acts of violence. Yeah, but so you don't think the people watching that eel monster had genuine empathy for it at that moment? It was squirming around there and trying to. It was struggling.
No, that's my point. The people that commented, were feeling empathy for that creature at that moment in time. What I'm saying though is, if they were sitting there looking at they had been fishing and pulled this thing out of the deep, they would have done the same thing. They would have taken it off, looked at it, but maybe they wouldn't have poked it with a metal stick. But it wasn't. They weren't like jabbing it. They were just like poking it.
Yeah.
And so maybe they would have not poked it, but they still would have looked at it and watched it flop around for a while.
Right.
Then maybe they'd throw it back, or maybe they wouldn't. Who the fuck knows? But what I'm saying is, they don't even think about that. They're just like, like they see, they don't have empathy for the person that's doing it. It's like, wow, that's weird. That's like, I don't know if I saw that thing. But that was my whole point, was this creature is very strange looking.
It sure was.
And just look at this weird looking animal.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like, oh no, I'm fucking mad.
Righteous.
I'm not even, that poor little thing is being hurt.
Righteous indignation.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. Whatever.
Yeah, I get you. Why did we start talking about that? Oh, the internet. Because that was my...
internet and anger and
crime,
violence and crime. Or like you were saying, reporting of crimes.
Yeah.
After the thing in Baltimore where they had the riots, crime started going up.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly talks about it every day.
Because the cops basically, and they said previous to that, they had been juking the stats, and they would make it so that crime looked like it was going down.
Right.
And then after that, they didn't care anymore, and they're like, you know what, fuck it. Let's.
Well, they knew they were going to come under federal scrutiny, so they cleaned up their act. Maybe.
Well, they also wanted to make it look like that the neighborhoods were way worse than they were, and they needed cops. They needed police.
If you were a police chief and the federal people came and said, hey, we need your yearly statistics, and you really want more federal money to hire another 1,000 cops and get body or you don't want body cameras, you want assault rifles and tanks and riot gear and all the fun stuff, what would you do? Yeah, you would do everything you could to, within the law, elevate those stats.
Right.
Start considering every report a crime or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that's going on all over the place. Police reporting higher crime so that they can get more money. Right, and show a need.
Right, and that seems like a tightrope to walk, because on the one hand, like you said, they want to elevate the stats so that they get the extra funding. But then on the other hand, after they get the extra funding, they want to lower the stats to show that they were making a change.
Yeah.
Or the same thing with like a new police chief becomes.
He doesn't want to look ineffectual.
Don't want to make it look like it's worse now.
Like
than
I'm a
before
shitty
he
police
was there.
chief.
Right.
All right.
So,
that probably holds him back. That's true. Anyway, it is kind of nice.
But my
to know
point about that is just like, so basically, stats are garbage. I'm just saying they're easily manipulated, and so.
I don't think it means, you're right, but I don't think it means that we should give up on the quest to collect information about our society. It's so important to track trends.
Look, I'm fine with collecting information, but I also think that you should be very aware of who collects that information, how it was collected, what the stats actually mean or show, and don't buy into this extra garbage that like they try to make the stats appear to be.
Well, it's like
violent crime's completely down now than it used to be in the 1970s. Well, really? Is it really? Are you sure?
That's what they say.
I know that's what they say, but I'm just saying, like...
I mean, murders, you have to trust those numbers, right? Because murders are going to get written down somewhere, and it's going to refer to a real case with a real dead body. So I trust murder rate statistics.
What about people that were murdered that they changed to a suicide?
Yeah, that's true.
People get murdered in jail all the time, and they go, oh, it was suicide. So it doesn't get counted as a murder.
True.
And you got less murders, right?
Yeah.
So you go, oh, murder's down, and suicides are up. Surprising.
Yeah, suicides are up, reportedly.
Okay, well,
and of course
who knows that murders are down then? Maybe actually murders are up and suicides are down. But they're just getting reported differently.
But you're a skeptic, though. It's ultimate skepticism means you can't do anything with anything. So I want to know, for instance, that suicides are going up, and that men commit suicide 4 times the rate of women. To me, that's a socially important fact.
See, it's not important to me. What's important to me is, am I going to kill someone? Is someone around me that I know going to kill someone?
Well, there
or
you
are they
go.
going to be killed? Am I going to be killed?
There you go. It's
but
important to know.
Stats mean nothing about that.
No, but it's
how I live my life.
Sure, it does, because if you know that men are 4 times more likely, if you know that men are 4 times more likely, that could importantly change or that white men from this thing are committing suicide at increasing rates. It would let you know that, oh, my friend that's white Bob from upper, rich Tucson or something, he's at risk. Like, there's a better chance that he's going to do it. If I see any warning signs, statistics are important for social.
So it's wrong. It's wrong to be prejudiced when it comes to like race or sex or whatever. But it's okay to be prejudiced when it's like, oh, well, but see, these people are more apt, this white person or these old people, or they're more apt to have this, when it's disease or, like, as long as it's not negative, like you're not trying to say that someone's a thief or a liar. But if you're going to say, oh, they're more apt to get cancer or more apt to kill themselves.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Then it's okay.
Of course.
Even though it's under the same MO.
You have any weird dreams lately? Didn't you say you don't remember?
I don't really have dreams. My dreams are usually very, very mundane. I'll have a dream like I'm washing the dishes.
Yeah.
Or a dream that I'm like, walking down the street, going to the store. Like, usually my most exciting dreams will be like, I met a bookstore or record store or something like that, and I see some book or record or whatever that I've like been hunting for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And
like a wish fulfillment, basically.
Yeah. And then I'll wake up and be like, oh, yeah, I got it. And they're like, oh, no, that was
shit.
Those are, but I did have some really weird dream recently, which I just emptied it out of my mind as soon as you asked me that question.
Oh, no. I had one the other night. Remember Abe, the tall guy? Mm-hmm. One of our most loyal listeners. If you're out there, Abe, prepare yourself.
Hello.
This is going to make you feel a little uncomfortable. But I had a dream that I was walking through like this old field behind my school where I grew up, and with Abe. And he had like bright, like fluorescent green and blue hair, like the hair, like punk, whatever people do that. In the dream, I took the hair off of his head like a toupee, except it wasn't. It was his hair. But anyway, and I started sucking on it, and like water came out of it, and I was like hydrating myself by sucking on this like Donald Trump but green hairpiece. But it wasn't on his head, so it's not at all weird, sexually. Just so you all know.
It was no longer on his head.
Right, I took it off, and then he put it back on later. But somehow this thing had like moisture in it. I was able to hydrate myself. But the fact that you said that you don't remember your dreams very often is interesting, because for the next topic, which is related, which is deja vu. So I looked up the existing scientific studies on deja vu to get some statistics and ideas. And spoiler alert, they have no idea what it is or why it happens. And they'll give you a bunch of rigmarole about hypotheses that they have. It's all bullshit. They don't know. It's just like dreams. The science has been unable to really crack it at all, in my opinion. But regarding deja vu, you hear that music, Mark. You know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Shot in the dark. Here it is, folks, our weekly trivia question. So my question is, according to the scientists, what would you say, which percentage of people in the world, in the population, and I know you love polls and statistics, experience at some time in their life deja vu? What percentage of the world or U.S. population, let's say?
At some time in their life?
Yeah.
Like just once, not like regularly.
If you survey them, they will say, I have had deja vu at some time in my life.
I'm going to say probably like 75%.
Yeah. I would have said 95, I think. That would have been my guess because of how shocked I was by what these researchers said. They said 65%. So you're very close. Mark wins Shot of the Dark today. Very nice. I got prizes for you afterward.
Yay. Because I can't think of any time that I felt I was experiencing deja vu.
That's very interesting. That's what I wanted to know. I thought maybe you would be the guy because I had remembered you saying that you don't remember your dreams, and that is a scientific correlation that they drew. In one study, there were 10 people out of 46 who don't remember their dreams ever. And none of those people reported ever having deja vu. And the 32 people, or 6, whatever, who do remember their dreams, all of them had deja vu. So that's a very strong correlation right there. And I think it was repeated in another study. So you've never had deja vu. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so.
Because that was my other question is, people who haven't had it, do they know that they haven't had it? Or do they think, or do they know what it is, in other words? Because it's a very distinctive experience. It's not just remembering something or a feeling of familiarity. It's an uncanny.
No, you think that this has happened. Like, I would think that me and you have sat down at this table and we've talked about me not having deja vu before.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
So you know what it is.
So
but you've never had it.
I can't think of it. No.
That's incredible.
I mean, I've had things like it, like, oh, I'm in this car again, driving down this road, but I know that's not like, oh.
It lasts for like 1 to 6 seconds, I would say, in my life, so it's very much, you know when it's over, and you know when it begins, and when it's over, you know, you're like, no, I'm not having it anymore. I just was having it, and you hear someone says something usually, or it's doesn't have to be someone saying something, but you feel that they have said those exact words in this situation, everything the same, and that you've lived through it.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't think I've experienced that.
That is awesome.
So what does that say about me?
I have no idea.
Does it say anything that the study didn't like?
Well, I'll give you, they did come up with some more interesting stuff. So here's some history about it. Although the term deja vu was clearly introduced in the late 1800s, it did not come into common usage until many decades later. So our ancestors didn't even use this phrase. Snow and Linson, researchers, provided a list of 17 different terms from 3 languages that have previously been used to describe the deja vu phenomenon, from paramnesia to illusion of the already seen to sentiment of pre-existence and beyond. So the term itself is new, which led me to wonder...
Well, not new, but in the 1800s.
Yeah, but it didn't come into use until like the 30s or 20s. So that's...
But I mean, that's not new to us.
No, but
old. But
world history-wise, I mean, we're talking about English-speaking countries in 1800. No one said that French word.
Well, first off, it's a fucking French word, so...
I wonder when they started.
Yeah, when did they start using it?
I don't think they any earlier, because of this, what this is saying, because the term was invented in 1890. The current definition of it, which is an interesting topic in itself, is, quote, any subjectively inappropriate impression of familiarity of a present experience.
Inappropriate?
Subjectively inappropriate. I guess that means it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel appropriate. This is the definition.
See, no, but for me, when I hear the word inappropriate, it means like risque
offensive.
Or like offensive or like something like, you know.
Yeah. Now, Mark, these guys speak a different language, these eggheads out there. So, again, it's any subjectively inappropriate impression of familiarity of a present experience with an undefined past. That's not a very good definition, I gotta say. Here's some facts about it. Deja vu incidence decreases with age. It's more common among white people, the well-educated, and the wealthy. In other words, it's positively correlated with education level. It seems to be very common for people who travel frequently, for soldiers going into battle, and in highly stressed or fatigued individuals. People who, I guess, like read a lot, like more than they want to for their job or whatever, or study things or whatever, they have it more. And it's very much correlated with, I think, sleep. Not getting enough sleep, just sleep deprivation. There's no gender difference. There's no male-female difference in incidence rates, and that's it about that. But so it's like I said, but it's also correlated with remembering your dreams. So I wonder. I didn't really come up with a theory on it, but
so that's weird because deja vu happens more often on people that have been sleep deprived, but then it correlates with people who remember their dreams. So how are you being sleep deprived but also having lots of dreams that you remember?
I don't know. Maybe you have more dreams when you have your 5 hours of sleep if you're a sleep deprived person.
Or maybe you remember them since you kind of wake up during them. Or something
maybe
still,
maybe they're more likely to wake you up. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just that was my big question was people who haven't had it. Do they know that they haven't had it? And you were kind of like not unsure. You were sort of like, I don't think I've had it, but like you would, the thing is you would know. It's like my rule for milk going bad. Like if you smell it and you're not sure, it's fine because milk smells a little funky when you stick your nose right into it. But if you smell it and it smells rotten, it's definitely rotten. And in other words, you'll know if it's rotten. That's my rule for milk.
Well, once you put it in your mouth, you'll know.
I think if you stick your nose right up to it, you get a perfect. You're not going to be wrong.
No, I've stuck my nose up before and it smelled funky, and then I've tasted it and it was fine.
Yeah, that's my point. If you're you were sure that well, then why did you drink it if you smelled it and you're like, this is rotten?
Because it was the only milk I had.
You're like, well, it's curdled, but
what was I supposed to pour orange juice on my Frosted Flakes? I don't know.
Mark smelled the milk. It smelled rotten, and he continued to pour it. Why smell it at all?
You take a little taste of it to see.
Yeah,
I didn't pour it on. But then like, oh no, it's fine. I can use it. Like I'm not that stupid. I'm not like.
So you smelled it. It smelled rotten.
It doesn't. It smells funk. It smells like it could be rotten.
That's my point. You're proving me right. If you smell it and you're not sure, it's fine. That's my rule. If you smell it and you're like, whoa, no, then it's rotten.
No, right. But there's other times when I've smelled it and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. And then you taste it and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's not good.
It has?
Yeah.
That's happened?
Yeah.
Well, then you're messing with my fucking rule.
Maybe I had a cold at the time or something, so I couldn't smell it as good.
Yeah. Anyway, I just hope New York votes for Bernie Sanders, Mark. I really do, but I'm not.
See, I'm not trying. No, I hear you. I'm really more interested on the Republican thing because
Trump's
I really want to
ahead.
know if New York, if they're going to support Trump over Cruz or Cruz over, you know what I mean? Like, do New Yorkers hate Trump enough to be like, fuck that dude and go with Cruz?
According to my research.
Or is he like,
I know you don't.
A member in good standing of fucking New York City? Do people in that town love him?
It appears that they do. Because I say there's a 99% chance that Trump will win by a large margin in New York, and because he's more than 20 points ahead in the polls, and Cruz and Kasich are actually going down recently instead of catching up, at the last minute like right. Bernie is.
Yeah.
They're going down. So I think Well, here's an explanation. Remember the Ted Cruz comment in the debate? New York values.
Yeah, right.
He's been in New York campaigning. And when he first got there, he was in the Bronx, I think. And he
I saw some guy.
50 people came to see him, and like 100 came to slag him off.
Right, yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying is like, because Cruz is someone who has, offended New York, talk shit about it, blah, 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 whatever. So, but then at the same time, I know that there are people that live in New York that think Donald Trump's a piece of shit. But, I mean, predominantly maybe those people are Democrats anyways, so Probably. They wouldn't be voting Republican.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I just was wondering if, like, there's enough people who would be Republicans who are like, no, Trump, fuck him, and, like, we'll vote for Cruz even though he has said that shit about New York just because he's not Trump.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was a large element to that or
we'll see.
Any element to that.
I mean, Kasich might come in second here, in my opinion, and because of those comments by Ted Cruz. He really messed up when he said that. And
So-
if Trump wins, if this is winner take all, which most of the Republican states are now, if Trump wins this, he's going to be within arm's reach of the nomination. It's a lot of delegates.
And then, so you think is Cruz going to drop out if Trump wins?
No.
No,
Cruz will be there till the convention, no doubt in my mind. I think Kasich is going to stick it out too.
How much is Trump ahead of them?
A lot.
A lot more than like Clinton is ahead of Sanders, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like he's ahead by a similar number of delegates, but the Republicans have like half the delegates, so
Right.
they're way more valuable. You only have to get like 1,000 something to win the nomination. Democrats, you got to win 2,200 something. So the delegates are cheaper; they're worth less for the Democrats. So yeah, Trump's way ahead. And every article I read is, Trump's falling now. He's finally fallen. It's over for Trump. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Cruz gets like 14 delegates in Wisconsin, and I see 10 headlines talking about how it's over for Trump. He's way ahead. Trump is way ahead still.
Oh, you
and
see
he's going to win New York and all these other
But Trump's
states.
not establishment.
Yeah.
Just
I
like
know.
Sanders isn't.
I know the
So
reporting is
the
biased.
reporting goes to
I
the
just don't-
establishment.
I just don't connect that thread to the party, like all the people in the state governments who report, all the county governments who report election results and stuff. I just hope that they're not just fudging
John,
the numbers.
But maybe
Why would they- why would
they aren't fudging the numbers.
Why
Maybe
would
the
they let
media does
Sanders
it.
win any states then?
Well, you have to pretend that the vote counts.
But you wouldn't want him to be gaining all this momentum and eating into Hillary's lead. And
Well, you don't want to completely throw the fight. You don't want to make it look completely unfair.
Well,
You can't like have Sanders like go down when Clinton takes one swipe and doesn't even connect.
You think there's a group in a room deciding who's going to win each state, how they're going to report the election
Do
results?
you not know about the what is it? Is it the Bilderberg group or whatever group it is that Clinton was the only one of the candidates that went to this last meeting?
Yeah, that's true.
And every meeting that they've ever had, the president was there. The eventual president had been at that meeting.
Oh yeah, I'll look that up. Is that true every time?
Supposedly. I mean, like I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And
No,
this is
that's
just
true
something
that she was
I have
there.
to take somebody else's.
I think Bill
word for it.
was with her too this last time. Why do they go to that? With all they're brazen, man. These people are brazen in their corruption. This Clooney dinner. Look at that money. Clooney himself is like, you're right, it's obscene.
I'm surprised, like someone that wanted to kill her didn't like attend it. Someone that like
It's
had
a
a
lot
bunch
of
of
money to pay to kill her and get caught doing it.
Well,
Because you're
but-
going to get caught.
But if you're going to kill someone like in that aspect, you don't give a fuck about getting caught. It's not like a crime of passion where you're trying to. Well, I mean, it is a crime. It's not a crime where you're trying to get away with something.
Fine, but if
I
you're
mean,
that
not like-
crazy, then you probably don't have 35 grand to drop. And they vet those people. So if you've been sitting at home posting conspiracy shit on your Facebook for the last 12 years, Secret Service is not going to like that.
Right.
Every post is about gun rights and how
Well, so
Hillary Clinton. There's all
Right.
these stupid names.
so they vet them, but also then how close you said that you can take pictures with her, but the Secret Service is still around her, right? So how close can you actually get to her? Like,
I don't
the
know.
Secret Service let you like
Shake her
get
hand.
up and shake her hand?
I think
and,
you
like,
can shake her hand, especially at such an intimate event with everyone's rich, everyone's very polite in a 3-piece suit and everything. It's all very bourgeois and bullshit, and it's brazen, man. She's right on the trail with getting hammered about the Wall Street speech transcripts that she won't release, and she goes and does this thing. She'd rather have the money than not have it.
Right.
Bernie's outraising her for 3 months now. It's insane. He's
Has Bernie
raised more money
Has
than
Bernie
her.
had any dinners like that, or had any
Of
celebrities?
course not.
Well,
But-
what do you mean? Of course not. Maybe
Well,
not
no,
in that range.
Well, he's had dinner
but he's
with
had to have had
celebrities,
dinners
but
with
they don't. People don't pay to go though.
Don't pay anything,
I don't think
even like
he's-
$50.
I don't know. Well, it's a good question. I shouldn't just say that he hasn't. But he released his tax returns. The guy made 210 grand last year or something because he
made 210 grand.
Yeah, senators automatically make like $185,000.
Jesus Christ! I gotta become a politician.
Yeah, House members make like 175 or a little bit less. But I mean, you do have to. You're a senator. You do have to
You don't
go
have to
to
do shit.
You do. You have to live in D.C. and you have to travel and stuff. But I mean, I think they pay for all that anyway.
Yeah.
And then you get health insurance too.
Obamacare.
No, you get good health.
I know. I know.
Yeah, so he made 200 and something. His net worth is at somewhere around $300,000. While the median net worth of a senator is, I think it's $5 million. Is the median net worth, and Bernie's got about $300,000.
Right.
And he wears shoes that are taped together. Did you see his duct taped shoe?
No, I didn't see that. But that's good.
And his wife has an online business that made $4,000 last year.
What does she sell?
I don't know.
Nudes of him. So okay, so after all this plans out, and let's say, just for the sake of argument, that he doesn't get the nomination.
Right, it's quite likely.
Now, when he doesn't get the nomination, how do you feel about his supposed plan of he's going to back Clinton?
Yeah.
That no matter what happened, like if he doesn't get that, then he's going to throw his support and all this energy that he's been using for his campaign behind her to try to get her to win. Do you think that are you okay with that? And do you think that's all right? Or because me personally, I think that's basically the reason I'm not voting for him.
Yeah. Because he's part of the party and therefore has to make this kind of promise.
If he would have said, I will throw my support behind Jill Stein if I do not get the nomination, I would completely back him.
Well, I mean, that's because you don't like Hillary Clinton's politics and you don't mind Jill Stein's.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, that shows him he's not really, as much as he's had this talk about values, and that's the big deal is like,
because Jill Stein's politics are much closer to his,
right?
Than Hillary's.
And he's saying basically like, you know what? I don't care about values. I just care about this party winning.
We can't let Donald Trump or Ted Cruz be the president.
And I'm sorry, but I think Ted Cruz, not Ted Cruz, Trump. I think Trump is less of a monster than Cruz or Clinton. I think Cruz or Clinton being president is going to make the country a lot worse than if Trump or Sanders was.
Yeah.
Trump, there's a bunch of stuff that Trump has said that falls in line with Sanders.
Yeah, a few things, yeah. I mean, and he wouldn't be able to get the horrible things done. The Muslim ban, deporting 11 million people,
right?
Building the wall. Basically, his whole platform, he wouldn't happen. So it's not a threat, really.
Right.
I mean, the deportations, he could make that happen by ordering his Justice Department to. You don't have to make a law, I guess. You could just order raids across the country that would cost billions of dollars.
But then those people are going to have to enforce that. And already, same with like SB 1070 here.
Yeah.
There's plenty of police and whatever that said, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Like Martine, my jiu-jitsu instructor, right. He refused to comply with that. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I'm not. So how I feel about Bernie saying he will endorse Hillary if she wins,
you think it's just like a Trump thing, and he's just saying it to get the support of Democrats?
No, I think he usually sticks to his word, so he'll probably do it. I think it'll be a measured endorsement. He won't be. I don't think he'll be campaigning for her at all. I don't think he'll go do speeches at all. So I hate it. I don't like it that he's doing that because I don't believe any longer in voting for the person because you hate the other one so much. I don't really think that's a good way to go. That's the whole reason Hillary is winning this thing is because they're like, all that aside, she's blah, 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 can beat this bad guy, this evil villain.
She's winning for that point and the point that she's a woman in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Those are two main reasons that people want to vote for.
I was going to disagree with you, but I mean, and her experience. I mean, secretaries of state often become presidents.
I have
than
to
vice
argue
presidents.
with you about that because you're telling me that she's got more experience than Sanders.
In the eyes of voters, yeah.
No. I'm asking you if you think she actually has more experience
on
in
some
the political
issues,
realm.
On some issues. Foreign
than
policy,
Sanders,
definitely. Secretary of State.
Who's been in he's been, what, a mayor since in the 70s?
Yeah. And then House of Representatives for a long time.
In 96, I think he became.
Yeah, and then senator. But the thing is, Secretary of State, she traveled to 160 countries and talked to their heads of state. You learn a lot about international dynamics when you do that, and when you are negotiating with heads of state on like treaties and stuff, which is what she did.
Well,
for 4 years, not exactly a career.
But yeah, I agree with you that when you do those things, you do gain that experience, and hopefully that's good. But at the same time, how did she use that experience?
Exactly. She hasn't done anything with it. She made mistakes.
She's made complete tons of mistakes.
Over and over.
Right. So, like, if your experience leads you to make these terrible mistakes, I think your experience isn't really working in your favor.
You haven't been learning.
And you can't really, like...
That's Bernie's whole...
bask in your experience and talk about how much experience you have when...
Well, she still does. And Bernie's...
make terrible decisions.
Bernie's retort is she's experienced enough to be president. Her judgment isn't good enough. That's what he says. Your judgment has been proven wrong over and over. So, I don't know, man.
And then her big thing was about Sandy Hook, right?
Oh, God.
She's using the blood of those kids to...
Yeah. She said, Bernie Sanders cares more about gun manufacturers than the parents of the victims at Sandy Hook. Yeah, that's what she said on Twitter. That's a horrible thing to say. Obviously not true.
Well, first off, did you read that thing that I posted about when she was Secretary of State, how she basically gave the okay and made the gun manufacturers, arms dealers, whatever, $120 billion.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So, and these are the same people that she's blaming Sanders for supporting.
Yeah.
She did the same
all
exact
because
thing.
He
but
voted
not
against
just in
a
the
bill.
country, around the whole entire world. So she didn't just support that
because she loves foreign interventionism.
But she used... So how many Sandy Hooks happened in the rest of the world?
Well, her whole plan for Syria was to arm the rebels a long time ago. But Obama hasn't really done that. She wanted to do the tried and true tactic of arming the rebel groups, who eventually turned into the new
ISIS,
terrorist group.
That was ISIS.
That was her plan, and she's chastised Obama recently for not following her thing because it's a mess over there. So she gets to say, "I suggested something else that you didn't do, so that would have fixed it."
Right.
Arming the rebels.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that thing. That's what works every time.
Yep. Arm the rebels and just blow up more of our Death Stars.
And you know what? Sanders has stuck to his guns, forgive the pun, on this issue. He says, I still don't think gun stores and sellers and manufacturers should be held legally liable for crimes committed with those guns. He's like, I still don't think they should. And he just, you know what else he said that took tons of balls or guts, He mentioned Israel at that debate. And he said that we need to treat the Palestinians like humans. And this is in New York. I mean, so very risky thing to say. No one says that in either party. No one says the Palestinians are human beings. And maybe we should stop supporting Israel's building settlements in Palestinian land known as the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, which are legally a part of Palestinian land where Israel builds neighborhoods and puts tanks and has been for a long time. They're breaking international law. I'm sorry. Their defense is, well, we have to pad our borders because these terrorist people are so evil and they're so dangerous, and they are dangerous. And Israel has been attacked a bunch of times, and we should be allied with that nation. That doesn't mean that everything they do is okay. And we should flex our muscle and say, get out of those areas. That's not your land. It's wrong for you to be there. So Bernie said that
we lose our only ally in the Middle East.
Yeah. Who are they going to run to? Do they have that many cards to play? I mean, really, we're their whole thing. We give them $3.5 billion a year in aid, more than any other country. If you think we're giving aid to Africa or something and wasting money on Pakistan, we give more to Israel. We also gave them nuclear weapons that the UN doesn't get to inspect. They don't even have to list them. They've never officially admitted having them, even though we know they do. So that's fun. And Bernie had the fucking to say that at that debate. There was no political reason to say that. I mean, except that his followers agree with him on that point.
Well, and so what was the
back and forth, or
no? What was the reaction?
People cheered for him in his section, and
but after that statement about Israel and
I read
Palestinians as people,
the reaction from who? The crowd?
The crowd, yeah. I mean, he's in New York.
Yeah, they cheered for him. Okay. They clapped. Nothing crazy, but they people appreciated it. It was because no one ever says that. I don't know. I don't know if there were any boos. But a bunch of articles immediately came out saying that he was Bernie Sanders is a Palestinian terrorist, basically. Right. The Israel people come out and they say, this man is the most dangerous man in the political world right now. So,
and Trump said the same thing.
Yeah, a while ago, he said...
Well, he was hammered a bunch about saying,
are
you pro-Israel or not? Like, some people don't think you're very strong.
Right. Well, he said something like, both sides are valid and we need to negotiate a 50-50 truce.
Right.
And that was horrible. You can't say that.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Trump did say that. And Bernie is the only one who didn't show up to that Jewish, the AI thing. He didn't go to that. And he was like, he tweeted, he's like, hey, I really love you guys, but I can't make it. And he's the Jewish candidate. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. All right. That was fun. All right. We'll be back next week, people. Episode 60. Going strong. Thank you all for listening, and for the people that are donating. You're great. So if anyone else out there can spare $1 an episode, just go to Patreon, Patreon, and do it. Thank you. Later.